All right, Monkey.
Burkey, how are you, mate?
Not bad. Back for another episode.
Yep. Back-to-back day.
Back-to-back.
Episodes, I should say.
Got a couple of special guests today. We alluded to yesterday. A couple of the co-founders from Melbourne PlayLive Melbourne. Excuse me. We got Mr. Bridges Robinson-Rowe and Mr. Josh Abadi. Thanks for coming in.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
I love it how I love it how Bridges gone straight for the lips on the microphone like he's a singer. Yeah. Thanks very much for being here like this. Yeah.
I've never even seen a podcast, let alone been on one.
So welcome, boys. It's a pleasure to have you guys on the show today, and we're kind of looking forward to having a bit of a conversation about you boys and PlayLive and how it all got put together, how you guys met, came up with the idea, what's coming up over the next couple of weeks, and because I know you guys got something special in the PlayLive Millions, and then what's happening in the future, and there's
honestly,
some funny stories in there, and so on and so forth.
For those listeners who have been living under a rock, PlayLive is the newest, and I'm going to say best poker room that Melbourne has now got, down on 129 York Street.
Yep,
York Street.
Yes, sir.
South Melbourne. Thank God I got the address right.
Don't go to South Yarra.
Don't go to South Yarra.
Yeah, there's another 129 York Street, and on a few occasions, people have been like, "I'm here."
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there?
you're not here.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Now we want to take it all the way back, and where did this all start? Where did this idea come from? Because Melbourne is a very, very hard place to get a poker room into.
And how did you two guys meet? Because I know you don't. I mean, obviously, Josh, you're American, and Bridges, Aussie. So. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that.
You first, buddy.
Yeah, I'll go first. So we first met at the 2017 WSOP. I was playing a $1,500 buy-in no-limit hold'em tournament, and Josh sat down on my direct right. And in the very first orbit of that tournament, I 3-bet him 4 times.
In a row. 4 continuous times.
And
that's really where the start of the relationship is.
That's the start of every great relationship.
Yeah.
And I think he just thought, wow, who is this like super aggressive Australian pro?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here in America. He's going to assume that I'm an Australian pro. Not the case.
He's trying to look you up on hand.
I literally had ace queen suited plus every single hand. Like, I was just playing my cards.
How do you spell your name again?
Exactly.
He waited years to tell me that, by the way. Years. Like,
I just had it. And we got to chatting that day. We sat together for a couple of hours playing poker, and we got to chatting, and it came about that we had a mutual friend in common. He mentioned that he was a chess player and that he was from New York. And I was staying in Las Vegas with a chess player from New York who was also a poker player. And we started, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just out here with my friend from America, like probably my best friend in poker at the time.
Who's that?
Richard Turum.
Shout outs to Richard.
Shout out Richard.
Shout outs.
Anyway, I think he rolled his eyes like, oh yeah, sure. Like, he's pretty high up in the chess scene in America or whatever. And he probably just assumed that my friend was like some guy that knew the rules. Right. And when I said the name, he was like, oh, we went to high school together. We've been friends since we were 6 or whatever.
Right. Okay.
That's really how
so there was history there before you guys
exactly.
even met.
So that's how we got to know each other. Just like a coincidence of fate.
Well, that's a can't make it up story on itself.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? You can't make that up.
Exactly.
You have to be sitting right next to him at the WSOP 1500. He has to be a friend of yours who's went to high school with Josh. I mean, fucking millions to one.
He could
this whole
literally have
PlayLive
been one
thing came out of just a random sitting
chance.
together.
He could have been one place in line back, would have got a different table. We wouldn't be sitting here today.
You can't make it up.
I wouldn't even have probably ever been to Australia in my whole life.
Right.
Because it's so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
like, listen, I always had some vague conception of wanting to go to Australia. I feel like most Americans do. But, for like 2 weeks on the beach one time. And then when he first tells me, like, I can't tell you how often in poker, people are like, oh, chess. Like, I know a chess guy. And it's always just some random fucking person.
Well, it's the same thing in poker. Yeah, I know a person who plays poker, and you're like...
Sure you do.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, he, like, names someone I've known since I was 10, who's also like far better than I am at chess
and poker
and life and most things. And I was just like, wait, what? It turns out Richard studied abroad in Melbourne during university and met Bridges randomly at a bar that Bridges' sister worked at. I mean, we could give you the long version of the story, but like it is 5 1 in a millions in a row.
Right. Okay. Got you.
I often joke with Bridges that's like, that's the butterfly effect moment that determined my entire life.
There you go. And that's the name of the podcast. You can't make it up because they are butterfly. 1 in a million, 1 in a million, 1 in a million. I mean, it's just a massive outlier. That's never really happens in life very often.
So how long did it take you after that to end up coming to Australia?
Not long.
Instantly.
Instantly.
So we connected on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever it was back then.
MySpace. Yeah.
MySpace, exactly. I'm showing your age there, Monkey.
Sure, yeah.
Tom, your first friend.
And I remember he said to me that after WSOP, he was going to India for a poker tournament. Do you want to come? Well, I was in Vegas with my, give or take a few days, fiance. We got engaged in Vegas.
Right.
And we'd already set the wedding date. We were prepared.
Yeah.
So he's inviting me to India to go play in a poker tournament. I said, no, man, I'm going home to Australia to have kids and have a family and whatnot. And so we connected on online, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent him a message, or maybe it was in person. I said to him just casually, like, you got to come down to Aussie Millions in January. It's the best poker series outside of WSOP in the world.
Yep. Fair call.
And I didn't hear from him until maybe the 3rd of January that year. And I get a message saying, I'm on the plane. I'm coming to Australia.
So was that a last minute decision for you, or you just?
No, he just didn't communicate.
You
with
just
me.
didn't communicate.
The thing is,
Yeah,
I
right.
remember Bridges seemed so old at the time because I was 23.
Right.
But
okay.
obviously he was younger than I am right now, I think. But
Yeah,
I'm just like,
about
oh, this
30.
guy in his 30s, you know, he's like, he's about to get married. And I think the premise for me was an easy sell because I'm so allergic to the winter. I get so depressed. Growing up in New York my whole life, like I have these horrible childhood memories. This is a shout out to my parents. I'm sorry for saying this, but it's just like, you know, my siblings are older. So by the time I was 14, I'm the only kid in the house. There's a ton of snow. I have to shovel it all myself because my parents are older. And I mean,
it's a fault.
you know,
Yeah.
it sucks, you know,
right.
although credit to them, they shoveled a lot of snow too.
Sure.
So I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I play poker for a living, which means I get to travel. I'm just going to dodge the winter. And Bridges, I think, at some point mentioned to me, he's like, oh, it's great. The Australian Open's on. I'm obviously a tennis fanatic.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, I've always wanted to
2
go to
for
the
1.
Australian Open.
Yep.
And then he was like, oh, and it's the middle of summer. And it hit me. I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
All you have to do is switch hemispheres.
Hemispheres.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
OP, you know? I was just sold after that.
Yeah. That's
So
good.
when did the idea of PlayLive come into effect? How many years did you come over, or was this an early?
This was before I even met Josh. I had
Oh,
the idea.
you had the idea, yeah.
So I briefly in the early 2010s ran a pub poker company called Major League Poker, which eventually folded due to a lack of players. I'm a bit of a structure nerd when it comes to poker tournaments and designing poker tournaments correctly and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I originally started playing live poker through APL, as like a lot of people did when I was 18.
Yep.
I'd already been playing online since I was like 14.
Yeah.
And
Allegedly.
Same with me.
Allegedly, yeah,
Allegedly.
sorry.
Same with me, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Openly, admittedly.
And so I played a bit of APL when I first turned 18,
Right.
and the structures were pretty horrible back in the day.
Sure.
Haven't played for a while, not sure what they're like at the moment, but pretty much pub poker. It was lots of chips at the start, blinds go up very fast,
Yeah.
5 big blind average on the final table when there's money involved.
Yeah, right.
I was like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I started a pub poker company. We had maybe 10 venues at the peak, and the plan was to basically run good structured tournaments, and basically it was going to be like a pyramid system where you play a $20 buy-in, and if you cash, you win a $50 buy-in.
Behind, yeah,
And
okay.
then the 50 gets you
Steps.
into a
Yep.
100. So basically a stepping stone thing.
Yep.
And we build from the bottom, and we build like a big player pool or whatever, and that can
Pyramid up.
pyramid people up into bigger and bigger buy-ins.
Love it. Yep.
The problem that we found was
Didn't have
that
enough players.
we had the players because we took over a few venues,
Venues.
that had
Okay, sure.
previously had pub poker from different operators or whatever.
Okay.
So we got those players come in. The same players kept winning all the time
Oh,
because the structures were good,
yeah, right.
and a lot of people sort of left, and it never really grew.
Yeah, okay, got
and
you.
now if you look at what APL's doing with the APL Millions tournaments at the moment,
Mhm.
that was basically what we were trying to do.
Yeah, right.
We were trying to build big feeder pools basically
Yep.
into bigger and bigger tournaments. So maybe it was the right idea and a decade too early, or
Yep.
who knows. Anyway, after that sort of all ended in 2012, I had the idea to, like, instead of starting at the bottom with the most amount of people, start at the top with the people who can afford the bigger buy-ins, the dealer dealt tournaments or whatever, and then build out from there.
Yep.
Once you've already got the draw card
Yep.
of the big prize pools. So I had an investor who was willing to basically fund the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a location at the St Kilda Sea Baths Don't know if you guys have ever
Pretty
been
good
down
spot.
there.
I've been down there. Yep.
400 car parks.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
our biggest problem at PlayLive is parking, so
Yeah,
that
sure.
would have been nice.
Understand.
400 car
It
parks.
just seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the car park situations. But what I've noticed with a lot of places is you got to give it's one or the other. You get the nice location and the lack of car parks, or the lack of car parks, and it's.
We tried to have our cake and eat it too. We tried really hard. I mean, we looked for venues. We looked at multiple like car dealerships that were shutting down. We're like, oh, big glass, open floor concept. But there was one we really, really liked. That's not even too far from PlayLive, kind of like in the Port Melbourne area. But they were just too slow to move. And it's like, finding a venue is such a challenging thing. Like, I don't think people really grasp how
I
long
will
that
say this
takes.
though. I mean, I know that PlayLive, in terms of where it's currently situated or whatever, there's limited parking out the front, but there's a ton of parking in that area.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like just down the street, I think on the left-hand side, there's like a big open sort of care park, Wilson's car parking type of thing. Across the road from where you guys are, there's car parking in that
And-
building with Woolworths in there.
But
and-
there's also a
and
lot of
Smiths
public
and stuff.
transport around too.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like around the area, there's a lot of public transport that goes to it because there's a lot of people that go to the Melbourne. What's the market? The
South Melbourne Market.
South Melbourne Market.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like, I mean, look, it's not the best for parking, but it's also not the
The
worst.
worst. I totally agree with that.
We,
Totally
we,
agree with
we
that.
always wanted people to have something to do as well.
Yes,
Like, I
sure.
think one of my pet peeves in Australia with poker in general is so many of the venues are in the middle of nowhere. When I used to come for Aussie Millions as a player, one thing I loved was like, I don't know anything about the city. I'm just a foreigner. But
Sure.
Crown was like, oh, it's right on the water. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
I would bust a tournament and, start drinking with my friends, and I'd walk around. I'd be like, oh, this is where I'm meant to hang out in this city.
Yeah,
As
sure.
someone who doesn't know the city at all back then, right?
Yeah.
And whereas, there's so many venues in Australia, they're like, come out to,
Yeah,
middle-
Taylor's Lakes, golf club, and it's like, what do I do once I bust? There's
Yeah.
nothing
Well,
to do
there's,
here.
there's a quick.
Yeah, unless you want to play the pokies, of course. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
which is just not my
That's
taste.
Right, so kick it back to you.
Yeah,
Bridges, sorry, continue.
so found the venue. That would have been ideal for us as it had the car parking.
Perfect.
It already had restaurants and bars basically below the venue where the venue would have been. It would have been on the top level at the St Kilda Sea Bars.
Yep.
We could have outsourced all of the food and beverage to those businesses. It would have
Yep.
been a big bonanza for them.
Yep.
And
It's
we got
killer
knocked back.
location too.
We
just
got knocked
quietly.
back by the landlord, and we agreed to the rent that they wanted. They knocked us back. It was some Chinese family from Hong Kong or whatever owned the building.
Yep.
And 6 years later, I saw that it was still available for lease.
Yeah, right.
So
Wow.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they've just gone 6 years without.
And did they kick you back because of the tabooness to?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they
Poker,
like,
gambling.
so
not
the
not sure,
location
that type
was
of stuff.
like the tenancies are staggered
Yeah,
on top
I-
of one
yep,
another,
yep.
and at the top you have to come looking for it.
Right,
Like, you
okay.
wouldn't just find your way there, so that kids wouldn't walk past it, for example.
Sure.
From the but they just saw it as probably
Taboo.
a bit on the nose, and they
Yeah.
just they turned it down and pretty much continued looking for venues.
Mhm.
But at the same time, that's when I met my now wife.
Yep.
Ended up having a family, starting other businesses, going
Mhm.
in a different direction with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit, and
That was
poker-
fun.
That
Yep.
was fun. I remember
Yeah.
that. COVID hit.
Especially
Poker
for
was
Victorians, man.
Yeah.
We really got the good end of the stick there.
live poker was in the
famously.
bin for a while.
Yeah.
And it didn't really come back up again until Josh called me out of the blue one day. Would have been 2021, 2022 sometime. He called me up and said, hey, I'm looking at coming to live in Australia. And the reason for his call was to have me reach out to some people that I knew about finding him a job in the various fields that he's
Right.
worked in.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
And
yeah.
I said, no problem, buddy. I can definitely do that. But if you're coming all this way,
Yeah.
would you like to start a poker room with me?
Okay. Cool.
I think there's a desperate need for one in Melbourne.
Cool.
But then there
Now,
has
the
been
question,
for a
now,
while.
the question I have to ask you, Josh,
Yeah.
is what made you want to come to, outside the weather, I'm assuming, which is something you just alluded to before you didn't want to be part of, but over in New York, what made you just go, I want to come back to Australia, or I want to come to Australia?
So-
Like permanently, so to speak.
Yeah, I retired from poker in the middle of 2019, kind of like right before COVID started, to start a startup with my best friend Guy, who's now here for a few months hanging out, and my sister and Guy's dad. We did kind of like a family startup, if you will.
Sure.
And we ran it for almost 5 years, like 4.5 years. And in the later years, startups are tough. I mean, this one's tough too, but tech startups are extra tough because the first 2 years is just selling people the dream that your product might get used by people.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, you spend years of development building something that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're not even sure if anyone's going to use it.
Sure.
You try and be sure, you do your best. And, you know, I spent so much time just grinding, and we paid ourselves, I mean, an absolute pittance. I was just burning through all the money I'd saved playing poker, and really, like, I had impoverished myself. Chasing, like,
you've gone the opposite way. Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I've gone to work to lose money.
Yeah.
Okay,
when I was
perfect.
25, I played cards and I was rich. Now I'm like 28 and I'm broke and I'm like a hard-working CEO.
A lot of poker players go to work to lose money as well.
Yeah, that's true too, yeah.
So I was looking for a change in my life. We ended up selling the company for equity in a bigger company.
Sure, okay.
And so it's just like a solid outcome.
Yep.
And enough where you can be like, okay, what next to do with my life? And so my sister found a job very quickly, and I actually helped Guy find a job. One of my friends was looking for a head of engineering at their startup, and they loved him. And so I was like, oh, well, you know, everyone else is finding a job. I even found one of the jobs.
Yep.
But I don't have a job. So I spent about 8 months just traveling around. I stayed in Hawaii with my childhood best friend for a while, owns a moving company out there, just did some work helping him.
Sure.
Just kind of floating around. And I went to a ton of therapy because I was pretty like existentially depressed, I guess is the only word for it. Like, I was like, what now? Like, do I go back to being a poker pro? Like, the game had evolved so much in 5 years. I hadn't studied in 5 years. You know, my friends had all like surpassed me to the highest heights, which I was super proud of them. And I was like, well, that's an amazing resource for me.
Sure.
But I was like, I don't want to be a poker pro anymore. But my therapist was like, when was the last time you remember being truly happy with no caveats and no like stress? I was like, oh, going to Aussie Millions and just hanging with the boys back in the day.
Sure.
And I
like
was
that,
kind of
yep.
like, well, you know, the working holiday visa program exists. Like, it's pretty easy as a young American guy to just rock up to Australia for a year.
Yep.
So originally I asked Bridges if I could just live with him, and I was just going to either work in tech, work in consulting, or even just like work at a cafe or something.
Yeah,
The
just
minimum
something to get
wage
past.
is high enough in Australia that I was like, I'll honestly do whatever.
Yep.
I'm pretty open-minded in that way. And then he kind of hit me with this counter offer of like, you're a
Let's start a
startup
poker
guy,
room.
you know? Yeah.
By the way, while you're here,
Yeah, we're going to take on Crown, and how about we just get together and try and do it? Okay, so obviously you sit down and have a conversation. He flies over to Australia or whatever.
There's this thing called Zoom.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
We
Okay,
actually spent about 8 months preparing before I came.
Right, okay.
Because I told him, so I mean, my specialty in startups is basically two things. One is like legal knowledge. I like to call myself a budget lawyer. I'm like,
Sure.
if you can't afford to pay your lawyer, I'm your
Yeah,
next best
I'm
option.
there for you.
Of course, you always use the real lawyers when it's important, but like for basic contracts and stuff, I can handle that myself, no problem.
Okay.
And then just fundraising, because I come from the tech world. So I mean, I know a ton of investors,
Excellent.
venture capitalists, whatever you name it. And so he was
Lawyers
like,
and money. Yeah?
Lawyers and money.
Oh,
And he was
can't
like-
really lose very often, sure.
You
Okay.
never heard of someone from New York being a lawyer with some money.
Yeah, right. Okay,
It's unheard of.
Right.
And so I told him, I was like, listen, is this even possible? And he was basically like, well, that's what I have you for. You know, you figure that out. Like, he was like, if you can figure out a way to make it possible, then I can run you a poker room. You know, that's kind of our symbiosis in general.
Cool.
So I spent 7 months just traveling around. It was like when I was bumming around for my 7-8 months, I was on the side, like, you know, reaching out, learning about the regulations and reaching out to different firms and just like building my depth of understanding and just seeing if it was a non-starter. Like, I didn't want to be like, yeah, I'll move and we'll do this dream together if it wasn't possible at all.
Yep.
But it started to become evident. It's like, no, there is a version of this that's definitely possible. In fact, there are versions of this that exist in various scales. There's pub poker, there's, you know, Club Italia, whatever, like, where it's not a totally novel concept.
Yep.
And of course, we saw the success of rooms in Texas and just
So there's a proven track record there.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this like trend
Proof of
around the
concept,
world
that type of stuff.
for me, which is a no-brainer. It's like, as you guys know, I played chess competitively growing up and I was an esports pro. It's like, to me, poker is exactly the same as those things. That's how I got into it. I
Sure.
had a friend from Smash tournaments who offered to coach and stake me in college. And just, I mean, I had a coach for my very first day because he was like, oh, you're like a pro gamer. Like, let's stick you in the 1-3 streets and make me some money. I'm like, sure, you know?
Yeah, right.
So to me, it was strange that poker was just always at the casino. Like, I really found that to be quite odd. I've only ever played one chess tournament at casinos at Foxwoods as a kid. It's like, yeah, no, they belong in like these like, you know, dedicated environments for the thing. Like, what does a casino know about running a poker tournament? Maybe the poker people know about running a poker tournament and they happen to work there, but
All
yeah.
right, so let's
Yeah,
let's.
we were talking about that the other day, actually, Burkey.
Which one?
It's kind of funny that you know, I don't want to single out Crown necessarily, but we made a comment, I think, yesterday about any casino having sort of exclusivity over running a game and whether or not they're doing it just to be able to protect that game from not being used outside of a casino, as opposed to providing a good service for that game. Do you understand what I mean? So I know for a fact, and know is probably not the right word, but let's just say that it wouldn't surprise me if Crown Casino, for example, and I'm not just talking about them in general, but per square footage of the casino, they would be making more money out of putting pokies there or table games or roulette than poker.
Many multitudes.
Okay,
more.
so I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, of course.
I haven't seen the math, but I think it's a fair statement. But, it's kind of funny because, you walk into Crown and actually Crown's prepping for the Aussie Millions, and I have to admit it does look very, very good, so I'll give them props for that. But, when you walk into that particular Crown setting, you're looking at all these tables, and they've got 40 tables in there, and the rake's very high, and I think that's been widely sort of discredited. Discussed and discredited amongst the poker players there. But you kind of look into Crown there and you think to yourself, okay, these guys are knowingly making a loss, so to speak, on the poker comparatively to what they could have in that space, to which is something that you guys can't have at PlayLive, for example, like roulette tables and blackjack tables and big wheels and sick bow and all the other games with huge house edge that they're making big money on. And sometimes I've got this funny feeling, it's like, are they just putting poker on there to disallow, other potential operators trying to get into the market because they're making it so, because the laws are kind of in their favor a little bit? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And then when you guys came across, and this is why I was so excited about having you guys on for this particular podcast, is because you guys kind of looked at all the legalities around what you needed to do to be able to pull it off, and found a great event. Like, in my opinion, I think what you've got in 129 York Street, South Melbourne, is an absolutely outstanding.
The venue's amazing.
It really is. I think it's a great venue.
And it's come a long way from when it was opened in April to now. If you look at the photos, it's night and day difference. It's just every week there's more improvements, listening more to the players, what do they want, what works well with poker players.
And it's dedicated to the players.
And it's dedicated,
which is what I was trying
poker.
to allude to with the Crown thing. Is Crown just has it to have poker. You guys have it for the players who like poker or love poker. And it's a different model almost. Even though it's the same game, it's kind of like a different model. We're trying to build this for you guys, as opposed to Crown saying it's here for you guys if you want to come and play it.
Yeah, I think different. It's like they're in a much more complicated position, right? Because there's huge corporate interests involved.
Of sure.
I mean, it's owned by the second biggest hedge fund in the entire world, right? Of which I grew up with the sons and daughters of the founders.
Sure.
And I mean, that's, it's based in Connecticut. I've driven by the Blackstone office hundreds of times in my life. So it's like, there's people in the Crown poker room who are really passionate about what they're doing and are great at their jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, it used to be my favorite poker room in the whole world. That's that's the irony. So often people are like, oh, do you hate it there? I'm like, no, I love it there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I have any exposure to Australia in the first place. But of course, when you have huge corporate interests involved, they have to be more interested in the bottom line. That's their job.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
it's like, whereas for us, it's like, we did this for the purpose of having a poker room. I mean, we hope to make money. We're business people. That's always the goal of every business is to make money. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think for me, there's this interesting stigma around poker that confuses me a little bit. Because if you look at the model of a chess tournament or a Smash tournament or a Halo tournament, all of which I've played hundreds of, it's exactly the same. You go, you pay the entry fee, you pay some sort of, hospitality, whatever fee for the venue to host you, and you play the tournament, and the prize money is distributed based on what place you got. It's like a tennis tournament, a golf tournament. These things are identical to poker tournaments. There's literally no difference. But for some reason, poker has this like additional association just because it's historically based at the casino, which I think is just really interesting. And I for me, like, I'm sure Bridges has his own motivations, but like my core motivation here is to start to affect a larger change in the poker community of like moving the esport that is poker, which really is an esport. We don't use that word enough, but it just is. To the places where it belongs, run by people that love that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
I agree with you.
Yeah, why do we listen to players? Well, we are players, so who else are we going to listen to, right? I mean, there's no massive corporate interest behind us that we have to appease. It's just us and the players.
Us and the players.
So,
100%. So to continue on what you were saying just before, Bridges, so who was the person who found the location? That's kind of interesting to me. So that was Bridges. You went out there.
That was me.
Found it. Okay.
Yeah. Josh wasn't even in the country at the time.
He was in the country,
I was
right.
out looking. We looked Commercial Road, Paran. We were looking in Fitzroy.
Yep.
We had one half locked in the CBD.
We had half locked in on the CBD.
And they tried to put some really scummy shit in the contract. And we had gotten far in the process. At this point, I'd been there for months. We were going to the venue like every week. And I had to have a conversation with Bridges. I was like, we cannot sign this.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Wow.
So we were basically
then Josh came over, or what happened?
So we were going to be there in the city. Josh was here by the time we were basically going to
take the place in the city before the
CBD
contract was shit. Yeah.
And then we sort of had to pivot, and we pretty much immediately came across 129 York Street.
Where? South Melbourne?
South Melbourne.
It is,
not
perfect.
South Yarra.
Another just another shameless plug.
We got shown 2 properties on the same day, and the real estate agent tried to really push it. We saw the 129 York Street first, and then we went to the second one, and it was in South Melbourne, but further towards Albert Park, away from all the restaurants and the market and that, and they really tried to push it onto that, and I was like, I don't even know why we came and looked at this. Like the other one was like perfect. Like, we walked in and was like, oh, this is meant to be a poker room.
Yeah, sure.
So,
sure.
And it is when you get in there and have a look at it. Like it
looks like it was built for us.
It's set up for poker.
The building's 50 years old.
And what did you think, Josh? Obviously, when you'd done the walkthrough into South Melbourne, when you walked in, did you guys go together, or we just kind of organised a meeting for you guys to?
He went
he
once.
saw it first, or what? Yeah.
We were in a bit of a weird spot because obviously fundraising is a tricky thing. It takes months. It takes people that really believe in you and support you and whatever. But I was getting toward the end of the process. And I was like, well, shit, we don't have a venue anymore. Like, we had this whole venue, we had this whole plan.
Sure.
And we're kind of like starting from scratch if we don't have a venue, and maybe some investors will change their mind. They won't be interested. They want to do it right now. They don't want to do it 2 years from now.
Sure.
And he was like, I went to a venue today, and I think I found it. And we'd been sort of, I mean, how long were we just scraping, hoping that we would find a place? Like a couple of months at that point, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting to get a little nervous. Like, what if we can't find another spot? And we did all this work. And I mean, because it took us over 2 years to get to that point. I feel like people really underestimate the invisible time that it takes to get startups off the ground. I mean, someone has to come up with the name, the logo, the website.
I was actually going to ask about that next.
Like,
terms and conditions, all the stuff, all the legalities around it.
Yeah, and like the business logistics. I had to do all the like share issuance and figure out how owning a corporation works in a foreign country for me. And like, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And he was like, yeah, I found a place. And when we went in, the top floor was like an office building, like a marketing agency. Yeah. And the bottom floor was just an empty shell. I think if you go on our Facebook, there's like video of Bridges and I kind of like promoting the launch just from the empty shell, unfurnished, uncarpeted bottom floor with no toilet.
There was also a few videos when it looked empty when the tables first came in. Like it's starting to make its way in
with the Home Depot music.
Yeah.
So did you sign the? I'm kind of interested. So did you sign the contract to lease it and then go and get the poker tables and stuff like that because now you know you've locked in a location, or were you so confident that you were going to get this location that you start thinking about how to design the poker tables and making an order there? Because you don't get the poker table. It's not an overnight delivery from Amazon to get 50 tables plus all the chips plus all the all-in buttons and all that type of shit, right? That's a 6-week, 8-week type of turnaround, especially when you're ordering in masses, right? So I'm trying to figure out, like, once you've actually signed the lease, is that when you started talking to whomever you needed to get what you needed?
I think all the legwork was done before we signed the lease. So I think that like the name, the logo, we went with like a name that we could put anywhere.
Yep.
We didn't want
to
like
name too,
to lock us down into one particular location. But all the legwork was done, getting the quotes, getting the designs or whatever. And then as soon as we had the lease, we just put 129 on the chips and then boom.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah, beautiful.
Hit send on the order.
Yeah,
because we didn't want to.
I mean, just calling a spade. Corporate rent is insanely expensive.
Yes,
so
we couldn't afford to just have it sit around even for a month.
No,
you know what I mean? Like you have to start immediately.
I've been there. I know.
And pray that people show up.
So when did it change the name from Melbourne Poker Room to PlayLive?
So it, like the Melbourne Poker Room, if you go on the Facebook page, you'll see that it's been up for over a decade. Yeah. That was the South Melbourne. The St Kilda Sea Baths idea.
Oh, was that your original page?
So I've had that page with like 4 followers for a decade or so.
They're dedicated, these guys. They can't wait for this.
And Melbourne Poker Room was deliberately the most generic name that we could pick.
Yeah, sure.
Just a question. Have those 4 players who were on the page...
Who knows? Okay. It's probably friends and family. I don't know. That's the most generic name that we could come up with.
Yeah.
And then we always knew we would eventually have a brand name and change it.
We went through so many brand names. I mean, my background, obviously, is in poker marketing after my last startup. I worked in poker marketing for 2 years. And then, I learned everything I know about marketing from my sister. So shout outs to her. But I was like, I told Bridges, I'm like, don't worry, that's my thing. I'll come up with a name. And I pitched him like 50 names and they all sucked. I knew they all sucked, dude.
And that's his jam, yeah?
Yeah. You're like looking at it, you're like,
no, because it was about that time that they started showing me the names, and I looked at all 50 names and I'm like, this guy's got a background in marketing.
And then I was back in New York visiting my family for some sort of like a wedding or something. And Bridges calls me. I remember I'm walking through Manhattan and we're just like pitching names. I'm like, kangaroo poker, like whatever. Just I'm firing straight blanks.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about PlayLive? He was like, because we've always envisioned doing other things in the esports space as well. I'm trying to work on other communities I've been involved in, getting them going upstairs and just really making it like a hub for tournaments in general. And he was like, what about PlayLive poker, PlayLive chess? It's like, and I was like, yeah, good enough. Like that one's...
I think it's a great name.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, at the time you didn't realize how much of an impact that name's actually going to have.
Well, it's so versatile. Like you said before, it's so versatile because, PlayLive at some stage might not just do poker. So it could be PlayLive, Magic of Gathering or whatever it might be, or chess or whatever.
Shout out Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, there you go, right? Any of that type of stuff could be incorporated somewhere down the track.
But
you never know.
The thing is, with the venue, the top area of the venue is amazing. It's a big open space. You could run anything there.
Yeah, I agree.
We've even been chatting with companies about running corporate events. We have like a chiropractic convention that wants to have their big con.
This guy right here, if they've got that on there and I can get my back cracked 5 times a day, sign me the hell up, yeah?
I'm sure you can.
I'll let all the trainees go hammer and tong, mate, no problem. Yeah,
it's probably free too, right?
Beautiful.
I told Bridges from the beginning, like, I want to... Like, for me, this whole poker is an esport thing, that's not just marketing or some sort of loophole or like, I really mean that from the fiber of my being. And I think he kind of agrees. I mean, Bridges' first exposure to poker is Magic and mine is chess and also card games. I played Hearthstone, I played Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, you name it,
Right.
And we used to always play poker at chess tournaments for fun when we're like 14, 15, That's like, that was my original exposure. So to me, it's like these things just naturally belong together. And we also wanted to have a name that was flexible on location. Yeah. Like right now it's PlayLive Melbourne. We're very proud of that. But one day we would love to have, PlayLive Sydney, San Francisco. Sydney, whatever. I mean, sure, but it doesn't even have to be Australia. Like I think once you prove that you have a model that's worth replicating, there'll always be people that are interested in replicating it.
Totally agree with that.
In different markets.
Totally agree with that. Right. Okay. So that's a bit of the story, isn't it? It's kind of a bit interesting how that's all come together. And so now you've ordered all the equipment, all of that type of stuff. Now I want you to walk me through opening the doors and letting the general public come in and the stresses of, are we going to get one person walking in? And all that? I'm kind of like interested to.
But I think the hardest part before that, because there's one step we're missing before that, and that's building the team. You had to go out and find a team. It's not just you two that are running this thing.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a huge project, right? I mean, it requires something like this cannot be done with 2 people. It can't even be done with 10 people.
Yeah,
that's not even close to enough, right? Yeah, you need 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shout outs to all of our amazing staff. I think we were lucky in a few ways. Burkey actually helped me with this, which was a lot of people were taking their, you call it
redundancies from Crown.
From Crown. A lot of the best dealers. The first person we ever knew we wanted to hire was Tiger.
That's a no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer.
And so I think when I first came to Australia, it was like November, and we were hanging out with Tiger that New Year's. I was like, we're gonna open a poker. I'm like drinking. I'm like, we're gonna open a poker room. We're gonna hire you. You're gonna be our guy. And he was like, yeah, sure, man. I'm conceptually down. And then a year later, I was like, okay, time now. It's like, whoa, really? I'm like, yeah, really.
Sure.
And then I mean, I think we were very lucky in that there was just so many amazing dealers, many of whom wanted a few months off and then wanted a new job after they enjoyed their few months off. And the timing just kind of accidentally lined up. Berkey took me to like one of the redundancy parties at Bell's Hotel.
Perfect.
Oh, I remember that now. I forgot about that.
Just networking party.
No, it was great because it was sitting there going, we're looking for poker staff. And I'm like,
the whole
wait a second, they're having a redundancy party from Crown. And I reckon 70% of them would have had poker.
Oh, right.
So I'm just like, I guess we're gate crashing this event.
Yeah.
I mean, I quit years before, but yeah, they all know me still.
Yeah.
So we just walked up and
Yeah, we
It's
showed up.
Seek-
I
Alright,
kept trying to
everybody.
buy
This
people
is seek.
drinks.
This is seek.com.au.
Seek.
Seek.com.au live. Yeah, live. Yeah.
I completely forgot
The
about that.
funniest
yeah.
part is I kept trying to buy everyone drinks, right? That's what you do when you bring someone a
engaging in
proposition.
networking, yep.
But they all just got paid a huge lump sum
So
of
they're
money.
buying you drinks.
So they're buying me drinks. I was like, can I buy you a beer? They're like, no, let me buy you 5 beers. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no, you know?
Oh, that's quite funny. Right. Okay. So obviously now you've got the team together. I just want to get a feeling for what it was like opening up the doors before we get into, you know, what your current schedules and what's coming up in the future and all of that type of stuff and what's just about to start tomorrow. But before we get into that, which I do want to have a little bit of time talking about because I think it's very exciting about what you guys are about to pull off. But I do want to know that feeling of the first day when you've actually opened up the doors to allow patrons to come in there and start playing and what your thoughts and feelings were, because I think it must be such a exciting but also somewhat terrifying experience because you're thinking, have we marketed it well enough? We've got the staff in here. We've got our overheads. We've got to make sure we're making money here. Are they going to enjoy the room? Is there going to be player retention? The people are going to come back at a later date. Do they like the chips and the setup? Does it smell funky in here? You know, like you know what I mean? Like you're thinking of every last 1%er because you've got it all on the line, essentially, right? So I'm kind of interested to see how it felt to you guys on that first day opening up the doors, if you can remember.
A ton of relief when people actually did come through the door.
'Cause
I think even before we opened the door, I was like, when I harken back, like we started posting on our social media over a year before we opened the doors. I had a 3D render made up. It was of the previous venue in the CBD of what the poker room would look like.
Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, got you.
This, I am pretty good at CAD. I drew up the room based on the dimensions of the room that we had.
Okay.
But I couldn't do 3D rendering. And so I sent it off to someone on the internet in the Philippines or whatever.
You're always going to go to the Philippines now.
They do great work, but it's really hard to explain what a poker room is supposed to look like to somebody who does no idea or whatever. And so it's like it's very over the top, the 3D render or whatever. And like just to convince people that this is actually real took a lot of work.
Yeah,
like months, over a year or whatever. So we posted those videos, said, hey, we're coming, this is what our plans are, blah, blah, blah. And people are just like, this is AI, this is not real, like this is a scam. I'm like, I'm not sure what the scam is. We haven't asked for anything.
Yeah.
People love throwing that word around the internet.
So to actually get from that point where it's a ethereal dream on the internet to actually opening the front door, and we got about 100 runners on our very first.
That's excellent.
flight.
That's really good. You must be pretty proud of that.
Proud.
I mean, I would have been happy with like 30.
Yeah.
So 100 must have been.
I don't know if you know this, but I made sure I got there early enough to be the first person to register for an event.
It's true.
You're the first person
I was
ever.
number
Very
one.
first, yeah. He insisted on it.
If he gets one of those, basketball cards, that gets, like a Pokemon card, I'll get him to sign it. Probably
I
might
absolutely
be worth
insisted
something.
on it.
Right, there you go. First
I was like, no one's allowed to buy in until I get here.
That's gold.
I think there was a relief. There was also some disappointment, which is kind of funny to say because we had big dreams and big eyes.
Yeah, sure.
And a stomach that wasn't quite, matching those things. And we were hoping for like 150 to 200 runners because we'd just done so much promotion. We gave away some seats. I mean, we were just building this thing. And so it was a weird mixture of relief of like, holy shit, there are customers, like this is a real business. But like, I mean, the first day was pretty good, but the opening series as a whole was not good, right? I mean, it had moments that were good, but overall we lost so much money.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, to be fair,
but
that's
you live, you
normal.
learn. You live, you learn. Like you live, you learn. You have to experience it. You have to figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, how people are interpreting. You can only do that once the doors are open.
Exactly.
But the night and day difference between the first series and the second series.
It's insane, right?
It was like an incredible jump.
I gave a speech. I love giving motivational speeches to the squad. And I gave a speech. I was like, we don't have to be perfect, but we just have to strive to be a little bit better every day. And it's like one of those platitudes that's just true. It's like if you actually make your priority to just improve a little bit every day and you just let a year go by, the time will blink and you'll be like, wow, look at the night and day difference. I mean, it's only been 8 months. think about that. Now we're running our like flagship, Super Millions Series.
Yeah.
All right, well,
no, that's a perfect lead into
perfect
it.
lead
I
into
will
it.
say this just really quickly, just before we lead into that. I do want to know, what was the actual official opening date of PlayLive? I've never asked.
April.
Can you remember?
April the 23rd.
20th. 23rd.
23rd.
April the
That's
23rd.
my guess.
Okay, so it's his guess.
It's somewhere in that week
right.
for sure.
Okay, so the anniversary's coming up sometime.
It is.
In
And we'll do
April.
something for our 1-year anniversary.
Okay, sweet. I just wanted to know what the actual date was because I never actually knew.
Now, the
Now that
exciting
lead-
news.
Yeah, let's go, Burkey.
The Melbourne
Lead it in.
Millions
Woohoo.
starts
The
next
PlayLive
Thursday.
Melbourne Millions.
PlayLive Melbourne Millions.
Branded.
It's branded. It's going to be
Trademark,
huge.
copyright, patent pending.
Tell us about it. The new series.
Yeah, so obviously our previous conversations, Josh came out to Australia every January, as did quite a lot of poker players from around the world. The weather, the tennis, the
Aussie Millions.
And the Aussie Millions.
Yep.
It's all going on in Melbourne, one of the greatest cities in the world, in January. And after COVID, no more.
Yeah.
Poof.
That was all gone. And I think you speak to anyone around the world that had traveled here for that time, they remember it fondly and they want to come back.
Yep. Agree with that.
And it's an open spot on the calendar at the moment, so we want to try and revive that feeling as much as we possibly can in our room. So our new series starting on the 15th of January and going all the way to finishes on the 3rd of Feb, though we do have an extra mixed game series that I know you are very interested in, Monkey, running from the 3rd of Feb to the 8th of Feb.
yeah.
So if we
Shout out to Shannon, by
Yeah,
the
shout
way.
out.
shout out to
shit.
Shannon at
He's
Mixed
the
Games
absolute-
Academy, yes.
He's a legend.
Unbelievable. He's one of the best, that guy. He can't make it up. The
So
prince
we've got-
himself.
We've got effectively 3.5, nearly 4 weeks of poker.
In the best,
Best time.
time
In the
that you
best
can
city.
be. Yeah, I agree.
And-
In the best, look, I'll be slightly biased, and I have been to New York, and I've been to a couple of places in the States and all that type of stuff, and I've seen some really nice. But Melbourne, summer, bookend of January, which is funnily enough when
It's
I was
wild.
also
Best
when
time
I
of
was
the
also born. I was born on the 23rd of January, so I'll be having a birthday during your series at the same time. But
32
that is-
already.
yeah, no, big 41, believe it or not. Yeah, no, but that is the nut. If we're going to use poker analogy, that's the nuts to be here. In Melbourne, it's definitely sort of bookend of January. Tennis
And,
is on.
and
Now
the
you guys are doing the
s-
Aussie
series is
Millions equivalent
touted
here. You
to
got
be
everything,
big.
and the weather's perfect and all that type of stuff. You don't get anybody. You know what I love the most? People complain about, the weather in Melbourne is XYZ, and it's a bit, They don't say a fucking word at the end of January when it's absolutely Mickey Mouse
Every day.
for
Every day.
every day, yeah. And then people forget about that completely because when it comes to sort of June, July, and it gets a bit colder, people go, "Oh, the weather's all crappy in Melbourne," and all that type of stuff. I'm like, dude, just before we get on to PlayLive Melbourne, just really quickly, I do find this funny, and I know you've grown up in New York, right? So New York in the summer, how hot can it get? 40?
So hot.
Right,
Yeah.
can it get up to 40, right?
Yeah, and it's super humid
Right,
too.
okay. So 40 humid, yeah, and then in the winter, like the nut, what's the nut like?
Minus a lot.
Yeah,
Minus a lot, yeah.
A lot.
Now, in my opinion, I would say that that's bad weather because you're getting the extremities of both.
Facts.
Here in Australia, right? It doesn't snow. Well, here in Melbourne,
The
I should
hot
say.
gets hot, but the cold
Doesn't get
still,
that
cold.
still stays.
People from
10,
Ireland out here, it's
15
12 degrees. They're wearing a shorts and a singlet. They're going, how it's balmy out here. You know what I mean? It's like I've put on 4 jumpers because I'm freezing at 12 degrees. That's, in my opinion, the weather's not that bad comparatively to
The
where-
weather is
to-
amazing
to
here.
where weather can be from one extreme to the other.
People in
You-
the
do you
southern
understand what I mean?
hemisphere, absolutely. People in the southern hemisphere are so spoiled. Like I always tell everyone in Melbourne that they're like so soft when it comes to the weather. Like last year when I was going to the gym a ton, I would just like walk to the gym in shorts. It's like a 10-minute walk because my gym's used to be right across from PlayLive in South Melbourne. I used to do pull-ups on the machine and I would see the half-built venue. It's so motivating.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm like, I
cool.
can do one more.
Yeah.
And I would take these like ironic Instagram stories where I would complain about how I was like dying of hypothermia, and I would get so many messages. They'd be like, "It's cold. It's not funny. Like it's really cold." I'm like, "No, it's not." And it's not just like, "Oh, I'm from a cold place." It's like all of Europe is colder than this
Yeah,
in
sure.
the winter. You know what I mean? Except for like the really warm parts. Like most of the civilized, developed world, it gets way colder than this in the winter. So for me, this weather is like, I mean, it's fantastic. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
right.
bipolar, no question. The weather's all over the place in Melbourne, but overall, I think the range of options is just great.
Cool.
So back to the millions.
Back to the millions. Key part of the millions. This is your floor. Tell us about the millions. Go.
Yeah, I mean,
Starts on the 15th, you said.
I think like Bridges and I probably both. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but tell me if you agree with this. Like we've always viewed this as like the point of what we're doing, because when he first pitched it to me, he was like, Aussie Millions, it's gone.
Yep.
When we first started talking about it, I'm like, what do you mean it's gone? He's like, it doesn't exist anymore. I couldn't believe it. Because
It was the biggest draw card to the casino for poker ever.
and it was just like,
And it was the
from-
best tournament
And you
in
got
Australia.
the biggest
easier.
names. You got
Yep.
the
Yeah.
There was pros coming from all around the world to play this event.
Yep.
I mean, you got everyone from, Alex Foxon and Chrissy B all the way down to me, of just like people who like the weather, who are just there to try and make an FT or two,
Sure.
hoping things go well. And we talked about this. It's like this was kind of like the gap that we always wanted to fill. We were like, if we can have one super legitimate series, mainstay, big name, then this will all be worth it.
Premium time, yada, yada,
Premium
that's
time,
Well,
premium location, great weather.
But the setup for it's been great because I've noticed you guys are running a lot of
it.
satellites.
Yeah, great build. It's a great
the
build.
fields are going to be big.
Yep.
The hype's going to be there.
Yep.
It's Aussie summer. Millions are back. We are looking for it. The PlayLive Melbourne Millions. It's just going to be 3 weeks of just amazing events.
Where can they find all the information about what the structures and the schedule and all of that type of stuff? Where can they find all that information?
Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. That's where you're going to see all of our daily stuff.
I'm assuming it's PlayLive on Facebook and
At PlayLive Melbourne.
Yep.
for-
Okay.
We'll try add the link to our
Sure. We'll
to
add
our
it into
page.
we'll add it into the
when we
YouTube.
when we post it. We'll add it into the page as well.
Thanks, guys. And then our website is playlive.melbourne. That's it. No WW, no com.
PlayLive.Melbourne.
just
Playlive.melbourne.
Clean,
Okay.
It's
simple.
the name of the business. It's
PlayLive.Melbourne.
the name of the website.
I love it.
So
Yep.
go there. You've got all of our schedules. Sign up for our mailing list. We'll send you all the updates.
I really like what you guys have done with the website too. Now you can go on the website and see current tournaments
you
that
can
are
see everything
that are
live,
running,
how many people
how
are
many
in it, how many
people are in
people
it, what
left.
buy-ins, what times, like Reggio, all the information's live plugged in from the system, which is really good as a player because you can get on at any time and say, oh man, like the opening event had XYZ players. Now I'm going to look at when the next flight is, and I think it builds on top of players, and they're always looking forward to seeing who's left, and it's just a really good initiative that came with poker and stuff like that, where you can actually keep updated on even local events live,
Yeah, correct.
which is fantastic.
Now, I think I wouldn't mind you doing a little bit of a drop on the Big Five, because I think that, that bundled package thing that you guys have got together where, you can play the, what is it, $500? Maybe you guys can explain a bit better.
Pretty much
so
for
that I
every
can-
one of our series, we run a satellite, which is a package into what we call the Big Five, which has our 5 multi-flight no limit hold'em tournaments throughout the series. So it's our opening event, which is $300. We have a tournament called the Nightcrawler, which is in the evening. So if you're still working during the hot summers, you can still get your fix playing poker.
Perfect.
That's
I
$400.
love the name of
Yeah.
that
Our
one.
mini main event is $600. There's 4 flights in that one. We have a mega mystery bounty. That's $1,150 buy-in, and the biggest bounty in that one is guaranteed to be at least $25,000. And then we've got our main event, which is $1,500 and $500,000 in guaranteed prize money.
It's huge.
It's just huge. And how often are you running these, the Big Five sort of bundled settings?
At the time of recording, we have 1 left,
Right, okay,
and that's
yeah.
going to be on Thursday
Sure.
at
2
Thursday the
o'clock, isn't it?
15th, first day of the series at 2:00.
Right before the opening event.
Right before the opening event. I
that's the
think it's 5 packages guaranteed, but I don't
That's
have it in
gonna
front of me.
yeah,
But
no,
I think
that's
it's
gonna
going to
be-
be it's going to be bigger than
yeah.
5 no matter what.
I'll
but-
be
I'll be
playing
there for that.
I'm
I'm
playing
there
that
for
one
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
beautiful.
we kind of went all out with the packages this time, where we also sold like a high roller package.
Yep.
Where that comes with a free main event ticket. Where basically, the hospitality fees come down close to zero for your whole series if you're willing to play all the higher buy-in stuff.
Yep.
Because like for us, I think the number one priority here is just to put our name on the map.
Yep.
Like I have
Gotta spend money to make money. It's
yeah,
just-
as I'm sure you guys have all seen, I have Abby Merck, Miss Abby Poker, coming over. She's a friend of mine, and we used to work together. Sponsored her at my old job, and then some of my friends from Vegas, Eric Baldwin, bringing some of the kind of old school.
Right, the old schoolers.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that.
I'll bring
Prahlad?
Yes, I
Now-
will bring Prahlad eventually. I promise.
funny listen to this one.
So yesterday I actually hit him up.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, I hit
Yeah.
him up yesterday. Now I'm hoping, I can't imagine Prahlad's going to be watching this, but he's my all-time fave, right? That's no offense to all the other poker players out there, but he was kind of like, he was doing stuff in the game before Tom Dwan made it awesome. You know what I mean? Like when he was over betting at the river and semi-bluffing 3x the pot on the turn and stuff like that. Prahlad Freeman was doing that online when I was like 14 years of age, and I watched him sort of develop all the way through, and I was like, this guy is a bit of a baller. And then he's sort of gone out and he's done his own thing, and now he's doing some, I think his rap name is called Progress, which I think is like a pretty cool name because it's a play on his name and stuff like that. And he just seems to me to be like a real cool dude. I think he also held the most free throws put in a row or something like that. I think he's got like that record somewhere, you know. And I don't know, just he's such a cool dude, and I really kind of want to meet him. So I'm trying to like asking you to try and help him get here if possible. I actually wrote to him and I said, look, if there's any way that I can financially incentivize you to come to play the Millions, let me know, because I'll, it's like a $10,000 meet and greet for me, and I'm happy to put up the money. You know what I mean?
There's also Tony Dunst. He was playing the last series.
Tony's a partner in the business, and then
But I actually was sat next to him during the last main event at what was the name of the series? The finals.
Finals, yep.
The final series.
Great series too.
Sorry
there.
about that. It's all random.
Yeah. He was sat to my left. I'm like, beautiful. This is going to be a great main event day.
You're like, well, I'm going to have fun today, but I'm going to get 3-bet a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to get a lot.
That's the problem.
Actually, no, the funny thing is I actually got in early and started 3-betting. That was my plan, get in so he doesn't think I'm just a pushover and start 3-betting me.
Right. Nice.
And then the rest of the day went, it's a lot smoother.
What's that line? You go to the biggest, baddest dude in the prison, and you punch him in the face and hope it works out. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, I'm lucky to be in a position from a mixture of being a player for so long and then being on the industry side for a few years of just like, I know a lot of people in poker. And I think like the Australian poker scene is so underrated. It's thriving. It's huge. There's so many amazing players here. And just like fun personalities and whatever. And for me, it's like where I found most of my career success as a player. So it's near and dear to my heart. But a lot of, American pros or even European pros, they're not as familiar with it. So I told Bridges, it's like, this is one of our, as you say in startups, like a moat or a competitive advantage. It's like, all I have to do is ask. And some percentage of these people will come, if I can convince them that it's worth their time, right? And, you can start to get people involved in the business in a bigger way. And we'll be making some big announcements there. I think you guys already kind of know, but for the pod, we'll be making some bigger announcements there pretty soon in the next few days.
I mean, you're allowed to.
Then come straight back here. We're more than happy to do a part 2.
More than welcome to.
Maybe we will have to do a part 2.
Okay, that sounds good.
And yeah, I told Bridges, it's like, if I can bring some real names here, and I'm confident I can bring the media, and it's like, these are just relationships that I have. That's the first step to putting your name on the map. It's like, this is our first one ever. We were only open for 8 months. Check out who showed up. You should probably be here next year.
Yeah,
right. And then by the second one, I mean, I think we envision ourselves having like true international recognition by the next Melbourne Millions.
Right now, what are we looking at guarantees here for the series? What are we looking at here?
That's so funny. I was just about to say that when you
it's a big draw. Look, guarantees in poker is something that's a big draw card. Everybody kind of looks at what the guarantee is. They look at structures and buy-ins and starting stacks and all of that type of stuff and the blind levels and so on and so forth. But
always on that line, they go to the guarantee.
Well, it also is it's at the top of the thing. It says PlayLive and then like whatever the guarantee is going to be. And most people kind of look at that first and go, right, fuck around. These guys aren't going to fuck around here. Like they put up a big number. How big is this number we're talking?
So the headline number for our series is $2 million guaranteed. Our main event is $500,000. We have a few side events that are $250,000 guaranteed.
That's crazy.
And then we've got, it's 18 events total that make up that $2 million.
Wild.
With our packages that we've actually just sold, not the satellite packages, but with the ones that we've been selling in the lead up to these events, we've already hit the guarantee in our 5K high roller, our 3K mammoth, our 2K super stack.
We have like 20-something pre-registrations.
Hasn't even started.
Hasn't
we've already hit
started.
these
We've already
guarantees.
hit the guaranteed.
So these tournaments could get
can be huge.
Could be massive on these ones.
When's the 5K for those people who want
Australia Day.
Australia Day,
Australia Day, day 1.
Well, you
the
can't.
day after Australia Day, day 2.
Well, any of the high rollers who want to play, you can't fuck that day up. So Australia Day, no problem. 26th.
Yep.
What time's that kicking off?
4:15 p.m. every day.
4:15.
You'll find a lot of our tournaments start at 4:15 due to the parking situation.
Right.
You
Okay,
can
sure.
park,
because you get
if you park on the street from 4 o'clock, you pay for 2 hours and you can stay until the next morning.
you don't have to move your car.
Now
Don't have to
for
move your car.
the max late regs, the MLRs.
Yes.
What time can you remember off the top of your head for the 5K? When's max late reg for those
It's going to
people?
be 6:15 on day 2.
6:15 on
6:15.
day two.
Actually,
So you get
6:30.
2 hours into day
Yeah,
2.
2 hours into day 2 and then a 15-minute break. So 6:30 day 2.
Right, there you go.
But please don't leave it until the last second and then be messaging
Someone
the
play from
Facebook
level
page.
1.
Yeah. Well, you do have, to be fair, you do have those people who are notorious max late reggers because they think they get the most amount of equity by playing it
But
like that.
you can still be in the venue. So we got a lot of people message the page. I'm going to be there 1 minute before the end of registration. Can you put me in? And it's like, you could have just been here. Like, registration's been open for 4 hours.
Yeah, definitely make time to make sure that you get in there early. There is a little bit of a parking issue around there, so you should probably apply an extra half an hour for your travel time in there to try and find a park. If there happens to be no parks directly out the front, you have to probably drive down the street and park in one of the Wilson's car parks. But the boys at PlayLive here have done an outstanding job. And I did say this yesterday on the podcast when I was talking about having you guys in. Look, I give absolute props to anybody who's got the balls and the stones and the know-how and the skill set and the expertise and the networking and everything else to put it all on the line and go up against it's the David versus Goliath type situation where you're going to go up against the biggest mecca that's been here forever, that's built its reputation for 40 years. I don't know how long Crown's been around, but I think it's like 97 maybe, so something like that. Maybe a bit earlier.
Before.
Right, call it 40 years for argument's sake. I don't know exactly whatever. And I like anybody in any field, it doesn't necessarily need to be poker, going, you know what, I'm going to follow my dream. This is what I would like to do. And, have put together, in my opinion, an outstanding piece of work. And it's constantly improving, and you can actually see those like tiny little updates every single time you walk into PlayLive. You can see
Like the new bar. The new bar looks great.
Bar area, I think it's
And what about the
outstanding.
stream table coming in?
Stream tables coming in, like these little like things. Like it's always those 1%ers.
Can we plug the stream table?
Absolutely. It's currently sitting in customs.
I was like, wait a second. Before I go on to this.
It's supposed to get released today.
Right.
So we're pushing it right to the edge.
We're really pushing it to the edge.
But I heard you got a team coming in very early to make sure. But I heard the cameras are...
Cameras are here, all that stuff.
Everything's
the
top
boys
notch.
are setting that up.
And we've actually, myself and Monkey, I think we're jumping in a little bit with Jabbity
in the
here
commentary
in the commentary booth. So,
well, actually, Jabbity said to me when the mixed games is on, if you don't mind jumping in the comics, because I've got no idea how to commentate.
I will sit there and commentate. I'll sit there and commentate all the mixed games, all of it.
I was telling Josh, I was like, I've done a ton of esports commentary. I used to commentate Smash every week when I was in college. I was like, someone has to commentate mixed games. I'm kind of the filler person who's available. But I was like, I literally don't even know the rules.
Just leave us there for a couple of days, man. We'll take care of the mixed
Something
games.
has happened, everybody. Something else has happened.
He sure brung it in.
There's a lot of cards.
He just got a 2. Is that good?
It's like, to the river. Oh, nope, he's getting more cards.
So,
all right, guys.
Okay, anything in the future that we need to know about?
One more thing.
Are you going to be posting out like a yearly? Have you thought about doing something like a yearly sort of event schedule so that people can?
We are planning to release our schedule or just some save the dates for the next 12 months.
Oh, that's
great
good.
idea.
At some point during this series when we can nail down exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And then, some other things for 2026 that we're working on. We're going to be building a PlayLive app. That's one of the priorities is like, maybe it'll be an app, maybe it'll be a web app. But right now, you can see the live tournaments online. You can see the schedule. You can see the structure.
But you want to get straight onto an app.
We want people to be able to open their phone, look at, oh, wow, there's this many runners, boop, jump in the tournament.
And you can actually register through the app without having to go through
everything to be able to be done through the app. I think the end game vision for years down the road is you show up, you go to the registration desk, you scan a QR code on your phone, it gives you your seat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This 2026, I have a background in app development. It's like if we can't
Seems like a
figure out
no-brainer, right?
some sort of technical solution, because the goal isn't just to do a nice job with the vibe and whatever. Like we really do want to make the best product around. And then we're also working on doing some collaborations with other brands, other operators, hopefully in Australia and outside of Australia. I think for us, like Asia is a big market. There's so many players, the fastest growing market in poker, and there's already a lot of familiarity for people coming from China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan that like to come to Australia already. Like they're familiar with coming on vacation here in a way that people from the US and Europe aren't as much.
Yeah, because of
and-
proximity and stuff like that. Yeah,
Exactly.
obviously, yep.
And the flights aren't too expensive.
Sure.
And, it works in a lot of ways. So I think that's, these things all take time. No promises, no guarantees. We're taking it one day at a time. But I think those are, some of
Now,
our goals for next
just
year.
before we finish, the merch. The merch looks
the merch looks
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Now, have you made a little bit more of a bulk purchase of some merch coming up for the Melbourne Millions? Because I can tell you this much for free. When I was in there, I think it was actually yesterday.
we were in there
We
yesterday.
ducked in there to actually ask you, Bridges, whether or not you could come in with Josh and do this podcast today. And I saw some of the new merch out there. I'm telling you, the hats, mate, you've got like 6 different designs of the hats, and it's kind of like black with the white and then black on the black and the whole kit and caboodle. And I thought to myself, these guys, they're up in their merch game here. I kind of like this.
I mean,
So
I'd always love to get a white jumper, but
Yeah.
I'd have it dirty in about 3
I
seconds.
might snag one of them this afternoon. That's a beauty, that one.
We actually did a really big, too big,
Too big.
order when we first did it, and only half of it arrived in time for I think it was for the winter series, might have been the final series, can't remember exactly. And then it looks like we've got more stuff in. It's actually just the
The same order.
Same order. So we are still working our way through that, but
Killer.
All right.
once that's gone, we'll be doing some new stuff.
Right, so plug it one more time. When does it kick off? The 15th?
January 15th.
Yep.
Come check it out. Come play the opener. The last opener got almost 1,100 runners. This one
Oh,
will
this
certainly
will
get
eclipse
more.
that, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm hoping for 1.5K. I mean, I really just, with how many people are coming interstate and internationally that have never come before, I think there's just pretty much a 99.9% chance. This is our biggest series by far. So,
Well,
Well, there you go.
it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. PlayLive Melbourne.
Follow them
PlayLive
at
Dog
PlayLive
Melbourne.
Yep, correct.
Bridges, Josh, thank you guys very much for coming on.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much,
It's an
guys.
absolute pleasure. I definitely will be seeing you guys a lot over the next 3 weeks. Looking forward to playing the series. Monkey,
Always a pleasure, Burkey. Thank you very, very much,
fellas, thank you very much.
Ciao.
Thank you.
cheers, guys.
Bye.
And cut.
What do you reckon?
That was awesome.